This is our little case for the show. All right. And here's me. I'll be giving the tour today. I'm Kaitlyn Niznik, for those of you who don't know me. And this is the show I curated for Gallery Rag in Gloucester. So Gallery Rag stands for Radical Acts of Generosity, and it's a gallery run by Deborah Reed and Tracy Hayes. And they're two artists that are using the gallery as a jumping off point to give people in three grad alumni programs, AIB, Leslie, and the Clark, a chance at some experimental shows. Hello to everyone joining. So we're just starting our gallery tour. I am Kaitlyn. I'm one of the artists and current CCYAN fellow. And over here we have Shelly Phillips.
Hi everyone, I'm Shelly.
And we're the two artists that are running it. We just put up the show on Thursday, and it's up through today, and we're taking it down on Sunday. One of the great parts about Gallery Rag is that they try to do as many shows as possible in a summer season, so they have a different show every week. All right. Now, Shelly, do you want to start with your pieces right here?
Sure. The show is about living and expressing through the arts inflammatory or chronic illness. And this first piece here is part of a larger piece. It starts with the photos around the corner. This is about the chair, which for me speaks to humanity. I worked for several years in intensive care, actually 2 decades. And speaking to molecular mimicry, one of the issues that happens in inflammatory disorders is the cell remembers data in our environments. And so each one of these little portals in this handiwork from generations before, which Kaitlyn and I are speaking about generations and the things handed down, which is the red thread speaking to that, and the part of our bodies that sits in the seats. Is the thing that gives birth to the future generations. On a molecular level, sorry about the traffic, the body is keeping that score. It's remembering different environmental factors, toxins, and disease processes, that infections, per se, that the cell remembers in inflammatory disorders like autoimmune disease, that then every time the body remembers it, even if they don't have that illness, it spikes up inflammatory process, crosses the blood-brain barrier, or in colitis, for example, permeates the stomach membranes and causes inflammatory episodes. So,
Shelly is a nurse.
And so this is what this is speaking to.
Yeah.
And each chair here is an assemblage of different heirloom chairs and speaking to humanity in that nature. And then there's a submission from a younger child who sent in a chair there and speaks to her mother about things handed down on the inside. There's words in there.
Yes. And these are surgical gloves, right?
Right. So everything has its time, and even sterile gloves have a time limit, so they are all upcycled. When they reach their life cycle, they are handed down into art making, both for my students in the classroom, because now I'm an art teacher, as well as a nurse, and so they get used for art making once they can no longer be used for sterile gloves. And there's just this kind of tension between the color. There's beauty in the broken, know, and so like sometimes those of us who are hiding in plain sight with chronic illness, actually, there's a beauty in what you learn through the process of dealing with the disease. So.
Yeah. Yes, and our show is called Familial Patterns, Generations of Patients, as a nod to CCYAN's parent company, Generation Patient. And then, we're going to give you a tour of the show. We're going to read some of the pieces that were submitted to us. This is one of my pieces. This is a watercolor piece of an anti-CD3 immunohistochemical stain. So I've been looking at a lot of pathology within my work.
Do you want me to hold it for you while you're...
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been looking at pathology examples and different staining techniques and how some of them can show colitis and then how some of them can hide it completely, just based on what proteins they're picking up and stuff. This is one of Shelley's pieces.
Yeah, this piece is doing a few different things. In order to read this, you would technically feel the autonomic dysfunction that happens when you have inflammatory brain disease. So you'd have to, it really sets that in, but also it's speaking to the sense of home when you're stuck in those situations, like the braided rug. So this is
Yes.
something that would happen if you have many different things. It could be Hashimoto's encephalopathy. It could be long COVID, where a lot of people are dealing with autoimmune encephalopathy through that when it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and myself included. I had severe autonomic dysfunction. So in order to actually read this, and this is after a near-death situation, and so this is talking about we are not our brain, and just we are not our mind, and just it talks about the things learned about being a soul in a body and not just a body with a soul. So in order to read that, you could take a picture and then be able to read it without feeling nauseous.
I've been trying to read it and tilting my head for the last few days. This is a collaborative piece that we did.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, Shelley found this lace discarded at a antique store, thrift store.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just looks like something that's a family heirloom. I'm personally obsessed with lace in my art making, and she knows that about me. So she brought it home, and her home is in Massachusetts, and mine is in New York, a few hours away. So we've been communicating online about the size of the piece and what color it is, what it looks like. I've been asking her for measurements this whole time, and this is my response to that. This is a paper cut, so I drew the drawing on the back and then I cut out everything with a knife, and it is a digestive system. So we're looking at ways in which families can hide chronic illness, and how we're trying to reveal and unearth that.
Yeah, I think that, with autoimmune inflammatory disorders, it's been this thing that was hidden for so long, and it's important to now, to show what's hiding in plain sight, and know that there's no shame in that. And also, like, this piece talks to the first one where it's done, it's the knot tying the generations together as well. And this one is kind of similar, even though it's not done in cloth. It's like all those generations before. It's a holding pattern. It's 4 generations. My mother, your mother, we are one. We are all held within the uterus, and then it gives way to 4 generations at once. And it's not in the DNA, which is interesting. There's environmental factors and familial patterns that happen that can be reversed. So there is hope in now the research that we can reverse these things.
Great on to the title of this exhibit.
Yeah.
This is one of my watercolor pieces. This is a Gomori trichrome. And I just love this staining technique so much. I don't know why it reminds me of blueberries. And you'll see it pop up in my other art, but it's a lot harder to see like the colitis from like the deep blue stain.
Yeah, it's very fruitful.
Yes. We've got Shelley's work here. Shelley works in, I want to say, every medium in the world at this point.
Well, my background's in photography, and I just think that, this first piece, which was my friend's family just bought a new home, and when I saw the wallpaper, it was like, wow, it looks like your lamp that you sent me. And then all of this is like communication with the generations that came before us, our antecedents in that way. And, and then the broken systems. Where are the broken systems? Anyone who has these processes at hand going on, the system is broken medically. It takes about 5 to 10 years to get our diagnoses. It's very frustrating. And we talked with Deb Reed about this, instead of like
The gallery owner.
Yes, like talking about the need for transformation, not, continuing to conform the system. So this is talking about, it can be both. You can flip the system over, and it could be, eyes, heart, stomach this way. But, again, this is our brain. And rewiring the system in a way.
And this is the original phone that was taken apart.
And also speaking to the fact that when you're in utero, your heart, your brain, and your stomach all are the central nervous system, and then it breaks apart. So when you're following your heart, following your brain, and then having gut migraines or upset, it's all central nervous systems. So they are all central nervous system cells. And here, this is when I had all of that near death. This was a premonitionary printmaking. I love printmaking because, again, it's giving way to a second generation. With the cutouts, which speaks to your work, which was so much fun that happened naturally, that we had something in common there, a shared thing. And I was everything but myself because I didn't know who I was at that point. When it crossed the blood-brain barrier, I woke up, I was the walls, I was everything but myself, and I had to wait for my memory to come back to me. So, and being the living proof that you can heal.
Yeah. And then this wall is my current series, which are plates. So going out of order a little bit, I started with this one. This is an old family clock that was in the family for probably 20, 30 years that recently broke. So I busted out the clock and I took the frame. And I am digging through my past and trying to find answers through my family and those who have had digestive issues. I've been looking also through photo albums to try to work out who had what, and this kind of became this jumping off point of my new series. So we have the pathology on the bottom, and then on the top it's actually an old 70s couch print that my grandma had and my dad inherited.
And how important it is to communicate and get those records.
Yeah.
Together, you know? But I was thinking just now when we were talking about plates and the fun part about your words, how, because there are plates, you know, for the microscope, and then there's plates here.
Oh yeah, yes.
You know, the play on words with that.
My friends have also said the symbolism isn't lost to them, that I have an IBD and issues eating, and my work is currently on plates.
Right, and the sensitivity to detail with the sensitivity to what you have to put in your body so that you have harmony.
So these are all antique remixed plates, some of them from thrift shops that are copies of what I had at home, and then other ones that I took from my family, and they were okay with me remixing. The child and the mother were not drawn by me. I'm taking the parts of the plate that I like, and then I'm erasing the parts that I don't like with sanding and dremeling and painting on top of it. So this was originally a piece with a mother and a child holding two dolls, and I decided that they needed colons. It just felt right. And I like that the little kid is looking up to the mother for guidance, and the mother is kind of holding it as if like it's something that she's accepted.
And I love that they have the flowers because the flora of the GI.
Yes, the humor is not lost on me.
I love it.
This is a plate I'm calling Child's Play. It's a Masson trichrome. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is a look at the collagenous colitis and what it would look like. So it has that thickening band around it. And this is a stain that really brings it to the forefront with that like icy blue color. We've got this, which is a CD3 print of my painting is the little colon pathologies around it that are all done very, very tiny. This is my current favorite because when I took this plate home, my mom thought that my grandma had visited, and it looked like something on the counter. So. And then this piece is based off of a baby blanket pattern that I had. And again, it's looking at the different colitis and this thickening band, but I decided to make it a little bit more whimsical with the piece. All right. This is where I've been painting for the past few days. I've been trying to do some like live art on the scene. I'm currently looking at pentachrome, different dyes and stains. And this is another Gamori piece. And then my last piece is called Pretty in Pink. All right. And then I picked up this lamp that reminds me of my grandma. It's very antique. And on this wall is all the CYAN work. So CCYAN is the Crohn's and Colitis Young Adults Network. And this is an amazing organization that does fellowships for young adults with IBD. They also do peer support meetings and roundtable discussions. And these are all the submissions that we collected from both CCYAN as well as the larger chronic illness community for all these submissions. So I'm gonna go through them one by one so everyone can see just how amazing the artists are that we got. So this is Portrait of the Artist as a Colon by Andriana Rosnick. And this is a booklet that she made chronicling her first year with ulcerative colitis. We are going to be posting shots of this to Instagram hopefully later. So prednisone, we've got recipes for a flare, which is my personal favorite. Biblically accurate intestines, which a lot of people that have gone through the gallery have said is their favorite piece. Tunneling to Freedom. Portrait of the Artist Colon as a Worm. Really powerful pen work. And Colon Stew. And then if you want to learn more about her and her art, definitely follow her Instagram. I love that it has so many different aspects of the lived experience. We've got another piece by Shelley of the family dynamic to go along with a picture of her and her grandma. Nancy Hart is someone who submitted. She's actually a friend of Shelley and I. She was, I think she didn't graduate in our cohort, but we had no idea she had a chronic illness. But I'm hoping it'll still be live if I do this. With her submission, she said she's inherited a lot of allergies and issues, and then she listed them out for us: dairy, chocolate, nuts, penicillin. And then it went on to include mansplaining, patriarchy, insincerity, gaslighting, and hypocrisy. So that is Nancy's piece.
This one is explaining that like 90% of, if you have undiagnosed autoimmune or inflammatory disease, 90% goes to the unborn child, which I found very interesting to learn.
Yeah. Here's our little banner for the wall. And then I was trying to decide how I should show the writing pieces. I'm going to read them and then post them and feature them on Instagram so that everyone can take their time and absorb them because they're absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to start with Letter to Mom by Alexis Gomez, who is a current CCYAN fellow. So, you grew me in your womb, the one that cramps when my birthday nears, the one that burns when you flare. You lived a normal life before my brother and me. I know you miss being healthy when you tell me stories about being my age and going out late and dancing in Tijuana and laughing with your friends and getting the best table at new restaurants when the line was always 2 hours minimum. But with your beauty, you only had to wait 15 minutes. That was all before you met Dad, of course. That was before you had 2 children, before your life would not only change with motherhood, but with chronic illness. For years, I didn't understand what you went through every day. I didn't understand how lonely it was until it happened to me. You watched me go through the same things as you. The painful burning in my colon, the isolation, and the grief of a life before it all. I know sometimes you feel guilty for my diagnosis when I hear the words, "I hate that you go through that," escape your lips. I know you feel like it's your fault sometimes, even though we cannot control our genetics. So when you are angry, I tell you that I am not. I say I know I'm not alone, that we are not alone in the cards that we've been dealt. You and I are similar. How could we not be? Yet we are just as different. You know what it's like to start a career, to fall in love, to be married, to have children, all before illness. I do not. You know what it's like to cry I know what it's like to cry to a therapist about all the thoughts and things I don't tell others. You do not. I am vulnerable with people from around the world with my experience, and that used to scare you. The first time I said I had a disability, you looked at me sadly and told me not to say that about myself. But saying it made me feel more empowered, because to me, it wasn't a bad word. It made me feel like I didn't have to pretend to be healthy. And perhaps that was new to you, the idea of no longer hiding. You know me better than anyone else. I think I know what you've been through better than anyone else. Our coping and grieving look different. Our acceptance of our realities is different, ever-changing and non-linear. You taught me so much that I know. And I know you'd say that you're learning from me too. Just as you've been there to love me and reassure me, I am here for you. We did not know what our lives would be, and while this life has not left us unscathed, I know that we will persevere because we have each other to hold on to. So thank you, Alexis Gomez, for that beautiful piece.
That really is, like, I just thank you for reading that.
I know.
Because it's talking about often maternity turns on the switch for autoimmune inflammatory disorders, and then the birth and also C-section turns on this. So both angles. This is so powerful, and I haven't really had a chance to hear it so often, like hear it, read it,
I know.
and see it. So that, thank you, Kaitlyn.
Yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
thank you, Alexis.
Yeah, thank you, Alexis.
For that very vulnerable
that
piece.
Is just having both angles. It's
My
the thought forms, like hearing it out loud from you is like to see it in my head, like visually that way. It's just amazing.
We have another piece from Shelley here. We also have this piece and artist statement by Marnie Blair called Snakes and Rivers. And this piece is a copy of the one she has. All of these pieces are. But it was printed and drawn on disposable medical drapes, a substrate associated with vulnerability, sterility, and care. And it's meant to confront the viewer with both intimacy and unease. And the snakes also have a lot of symbolism associated with them, including healing and danger, doubling as metaphors for arteries, stories, and rivers. And I absolutely love the balance of the image too.
Yeah, the colors.
Ah, gorgeous. Next we have Mosaics by Ashoria Ashokin, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I'm going to try my best to read this one aloud as well. Mosaics. When they say I have her eyes, her smile, the way she tilts her head, I glow like a mirror polished by praise, wearing her traits like medals pinned to my chest. But the day the tables turned, the hardest way I learned, grief tastes different when it's yours to keep. I did not want her eyes, nor the pain she hides. I did not want her smile, nor her silence for a while. I wanted to hate the parts of her I carry with me. But how? When I know how far she has come. We are mosaics, broken pieces bound by love and genetic code. She mastered the art of holding all together. But I wish if she learns to take up some space for herself. Maybe I cannot make any change with my diagnosis, but I can make a change with my prognosis. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much, Ashoria.
Beautiful.
I know my mom has been reading these pieces. I took her on this trip too, and a few of them were making her emotional the last few days. I think it really touched her. Up here we have one from Bamlak, and both Ashoria and Bamlak are also current CCYAN fellows. And all of these are in, what would you say, antique frames. So these were frames that were thrifted, put back together in some circumstances. And yeah, so I'm gonna read Bamlak's, which is A Heart That Heals. Through sleepless nights and heavy days, you lit my path in countless ways. With faith and strength, you pulled me through, restoring my soul, made all things new. To doctors wise with healing hands, who served with love in every land, with knowledge deep and hearts so kind, you brought me peace and strength of mind. To the surgeon calm and true, whose steady hands saw me through, with courage firm and vision bright, you turned my pain to healing light. To nurses kind with gentle grace, with whispered prayer, with watchful eyes and steady grace, you made the hardest moments safe. To families strong, who stayed so near, who held me close through every tear, your endless love so fierce and true was my sky bright when storms blew through. To friends who stood through every test with laughter shared and hearts at rest, your joy and comfort every day helped chase the fear and dark away. To support groups warm and wise who lift each other's truths and cries, you showed me I am not alone. In every scar our strength has grown. Through trials, triumph, joy, and pain, my gratitude will still remain. To every soul who walked with me, I thank you all eternally.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Bamlak. And just a quick side note about our submission wall. We have pieces from all across the world here, which is amazing considering the very short deadline that I gave everyone. So thank you for everyone that's been a part of the show. Bamlak is from Ethiopia. We have Ashorya in South India. And I believe a lot of these people are from across the US, New England, California. So thank you all for submitting to this little show. We have another Shelley piece right here, talking about the body. And then we have this chair installation piece, which was found.
Yeah. Chairs are discarded on the side of the road, and I'll see them often close to home. And these two were over 4th of July, about 26 days. And then finally I adopted them. I think accessibility is really important. A lot of the things are upcycled that I work with. And then like deconstructed and reconstructed. So taking the broken and then reconstructing them, rebuilding them in a certain way, tending to them on the tabletop, much like I did with muscle memory as a nurse. And then using things that would otherwise be discarded. This is the kind of the rice paper to the sterile, much like this Marnie's work. This is the sterile paper that wraps the gloves.
Cool.
And so the sterile paper gets outdated after a time. So this is the paper to the purple gloves. And then it's, mounted to the chair, and it's speaking to the framework of getting what we go through, like time and time again. It's that 5 to 10 years for diagnosis, feeling like handled and feeling broken, but holding space and getting stronger. And this can be used again, or it can just remember that again, there is a heart and soul within us, and knowing that there's still beauty even in the broken. Yeah. And then the other part that is actually the chair here is speaking to tending to the 4 generations, and then it's actually, it can be a stretcher, like why sit when you can lay down, and nature versus nurture, and speaking to the digestive system actually, and work that I researched with Tim Ingold. The Mother Earth is in indigenous populations. I have a peripatetic practice, and the earth is much like our digestive system. What we're breathing in is earth that rises up to greet us, and it's hundreds and hundreds of years old. It's that rises up first, just like our stomach contents that rises up first. Yeah. So, we are what we're breathing in, we are what we eat. And we can actually reverse some of these things immunologically, genetically, and the environmental factors.
Trying to get it where the light shows.
This is just,
there we go.
Talking about all these things. And often people think that, like, in terms of Hashimoto's, it doesn't just affect the thyroid, it can affect any organ in the body as well, including the stomach the brain, and those kind of things. So
Right.
that's what some of those things are talking about, and that's what this work is too. Immune dysfunction in the front when you first come out, your body can read, and this is a poem speaking to my daughter when she was first going through things, and then as the body meets these factors, it gets a little bit harder to read. You can still make stuff out, and then it gets very, very hard for your body to do its job, and you need to get yourself back at a cellular level to being able to function correctly. And how do we do that? And one of the ways we do that is talking about what's hiding in plain sight, which is what this show is about.
Yeah. And going back to the chair.
And fellowship. Yes.
Going back to the chair, I think a main goal of ours for this show was picking up these items that reminded us of home and family and finding a new life for them when they had been discarded. So there was that act of gentle care that I think I've been taking with myself since my diagnosis of microscopic colitis, and that idea of putting yourself back together and trying to make yourself whole again.
And the importance of bringing the generations together, I think one thing is, knowing your family history can help you as well. And,
of course.
And like tying that in.
So
I
we'll
love the
do.
sense of time from the plates.
We're going to do one last view for those of us who are just joining us at Gallery RAG, Radical Acts of Generosity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for everyone. I'm hoping that I can partner with Shelley again in the future and do more work based on chronic IBD and illness.
We've met so many amazing artists in the community that are in correspondence to this work. So growing it even with artists in the community would be amazing as well.
I don't think many people on the chat know anything about Gloucester or don't know much. Gloucester is in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. It's both a tourist town on the water and it's also an old fishing village. And we're in Rocky Neck Artist Colony, which is the oldest artist colony in the United States. So out here, outside of our gallery, there's just, the whole road is full of galleries. It is the coolest place in the world. There's galleries next door, galleries outside everywhere.
Permeable some, the blood-brain barrier, and the no leaky gut for you.
Yes, as Rosa said, thank you so much to everyone who submitted. We're so happy to be here. And like Shelley said, we've had so many great connections with people that were hoping for seaside work or something a little more touristy. And then we're met with this. And there's so many families that are like, my son has chronic illness. My granddaughter has it.
There's 3 people.
We've had so many
that are dealing with the same.
So many excellent discussions with people.
Really.
So thank you all for joining us. And I hope to post more photos of all the entries and up close things so that you can read them yourselves. But thank you. We are so happy for this opportunity. And thank you, Rosa, for seeing our vision through.
Oh, thank you for
Yes, Rosa, we can do that. I will save it to the archive. So, last day of the show, and we'll be posting more as the week goes on. So goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much.
It was so great to be a part of it. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you. Bye.